And you're still watching Prime Morning. The segment is the News Flash segment, and we ask you, or we plead with you, to be sending your messages all the time like you always do. You know we love you anytime you're sending your messages. And so don't forget to do that, as you always do. It's on 055 157 5757, 055 157 5757. Now today, we will take a look at what is happening in America as they go to the polls to cast their vote. Today is the final day. Today is the D-Day for them to cast their vote. However, there's been early voting, but today we call it the D-Day. With regards to the early voting, it has been a tie with just a little lead for the Democrat, not that much. Well, this morning, yesterday was a little lead for the Democrat. This morning, we are hearing is a little lead for the Republicans. However, when they go cast their votes, that's when we will know who will become the next government for America. History will definitely be made, whoever they decide to become the president of America. And so during the segment, we'll call Isaac Kofi AJ, who will definitely be telling us exactly what it looks like in America. And of course, we'll take a report from KMJ as well, who is on the ground and will be telling us exactly what's happening in America. And then we'll take a look at the NDC and NPP's Youth Manifesto. As a youth, which one do you think is more feasible? And which one do you believe in? We'll be talking about that also. But don't forget to send in your messages to us. This segment is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. No matter the gadget, mobile phones, television sets, CCTV cameras, worry no more. We've got you covered. I mean it. We've got you covered. You can visit any of our shops, or you can actually download the app on your phone, which is Franco Trading app, or visit our website, www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still phone prepare fee. And this November, I am so excited to tell you about the Joy Prime Made in Ghana Fair, which is happening from the 14th to the 17th of this month. Look no further. It's not December. No, it's not January. It is now. Next week, we are all gathering at a good pack for it. There's so many activities that will be happening, the cooking competition, fashion show, and all of that. It's going to be an amazing time. You don't want to miss out on it. Come and experience the discounts. Yes, I say it, the discounts. If you still want to be a vendor, you have an opportunity. We have very few slots left, and so you can call this number on the screen right now and become a vendor. Okay, just call the number on the screen and become a vendor. Take advantage of the time and make some good money. I'll quickly take us into the newspapers now. The newspapers, I'll start with the Daily Dispatch newspaper. And it reads, in me, you will have a brand new tier rubber president, not a second-hand failed president. This is coming from Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, His Excellency. The police and other sister security agencies are ready to risk our lives to protect Ghana's peace. This is coming from Dampare, and that's the IGP. I go on to the next newspaper, which is the Daily Graphic newspaper. The Daily Graphic newspaper, commit to peaceful elections, Ebrihene urges stakeholders. Some Jonah, others brainstorm at the Graphic Development Series today. Glyco Pension presents 3-bedroom house to best teacher. Congratulations to her or him. BC grading system unchanged in spite of curriculum change. That's coming from WAEC, and special supplement on 8th Ghana Energy Awards. But I'm asking this question, okay, so if BC grading system hasn't changed, why change the curriculum though? I just don't understand why they keep changing the curriculum. And for me, I don't know. They don't give us, the reasons that they give, it doesn't hold any water. I mean, every time you're changing curriculum, for what reason? So that, and what will happen? The Economy Times newspaper is my final newspaper. Not too good news here. CD continues to depreciate. And, you know, you'll be saying to yourself, it's election year, and why is the CD depreciating, right? Because you need a vote. And so these things should not be happening. We should see the CD being fixed. We should see the CD being strengthened. So why are we not doing it? Why are we not feeling it? Anyway, if you talk too much, it becomes something else. So I'll leave it like that. Second DDEP impacts financial sector marginally. Players optimist of fast recovery. And ADB MD is public sector CEO of the year. that'll be all with regards to what the newspapers have for us. This segment is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phone Papa Perfie. I did mention to you earlier that today we are going to take a look at what is happening in America. And talking about that, we have this report by KMJ, and we want you to watch it and understand exactly what is happening in America. Now, when we talk about America's elections, we can actually say that however they vote will impact us, whether negatively or positively. And so we all need to take a look at what is happening, be very interested, very invested in it, because as it concerns America, so does it concern us. Take a look at this.
Today, 5th November 2024, America decides who takes over the White House as the president-elect of the United States of America.
Will it be the Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, or the former President, Donald Trump? That's the big question.
Earlier this year, the sitting president, Joe Biden, was very confident of re-election until the unexpected happened.
President Joe Biden announced Sunday, July 21, 2024, he would not continue his bid for the re-election, saying it is in the best interest of the Democratic Party and the country to withdraw from the race, and he endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to be the nominee. The decision came nearly a month after Mr. Biden's poor debate performance in June, which alarmed Democrats in Washington and sparked a discussion about whether he could be replaced on the Democratic ticket. Mr. Biden endorsed his Vice President Kamala Harris to be the nominee, and a number of top Democrats also quickly announced they had backed her nomination.
The next question was, will Kamala Harris be able to step up and claim victory for the Democrats?
On Sunday, July 21, 2024, the Biden-Harris campaign formally amended filings with the Federal Election Commission to rename its principal committee and declare Kamala Harris a candidate for president.
On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
The move means that should she remain on the ticket for the general election, according to the Campaign Legal Center, Harris could assume control of the Biden-Harris campaign account, which had nearly $96 million cash in hand at the end of June. Vice President Kamala Harris' emergence as the frontrunner for the Democratic presidential nomination was a historic moment for the United States, as she seems poised to become the first black woman and Asian American to lead a major party ticket. Harris quickly garnered support from influential Democrats and raised a record $81 million within 24 hours of President Joe Biden's withdrawal from the presidential race. In 48 hours, Team Harris raised $126 million since the endorsement.
But most Americans can cast their vote for president before then if they want to.
Just like every year, some have done the early voting and others are doing the general voting today. So, let me ask, what goes into the American elections? Let me walk you through it.
The very first step, primaries and caucuses. There are many people who want to be president, each with their own ideas about how the government should work. People with similar ideas belong to the same political party. This is where primaries and caucuses come in. Candidates from each political party campaign through the country to win the favor of their party members. Beginning in February, the main voting event, primaries and caucuses, will lead to the selection of delegates who will represent the people at the upcoming conventions. The main focus will be on the results from Lower New Hampshire, Nevada, and South Carolina, which can easily determine who the final presidential nominee for each party will be. In a caucus, party members select the best candidate through a series of discussions and votes. In a primary, party members vote for the best candidates that will represent them in the general elections. Step 2. National conventions. Each party holds a national convention to select a final presidential nominee. State delegates from the primaries and caucuses selected to represent the people will now endorse their favorite candidates, and the final presidential nominee from each party will be officially announced at the end of the conventions. The presidential candidate also chooses a running mate, vice presidential candidate. The presidential candidate campaigned throughout the country to win the support of the general population. Step 3. General election. Registered voters over 18 years in every state across the country vote for one president and vice president. When Americans go to the polls in November, they will select their favorite presidential candidate and their running mate. When people cast their vote, they are actually voting for a group of people called electors, except in the state of Maine and Nebraska. If a candidate receives the majority of the vote from the people of a state, then the candidate will receive all electoral votes of that state. The presidential nominee with the most electoral votes becomes the president of the United States. Step 4. Electoral College. The Electoral College is a process in which electors or representatives from each state in number proportional to the state's population cast their vote and determine who will be president. Each state gets a certain number of electors based on its representation in Congress. There are a total of 538 electors selected according to each state's policy. Each elector casts one vote following the general election, and the candidate who gets more than half wins. The newly elected president and vice president are inaugurated in January.
Just like many other countries, the celebrities have not been left out in the entire elections.
The 2024 U.S. presidential election is getting to the climax, and the group of Hollywood celebs who have thrown their support behind the major candidates, Kamala Harris for the Democrats and Donald Trump for the Republicans, are ramping up the 2024 election heat. Celebs like Zachary Levi, Kid Rock, Amber Rose, Hulk Hogan, etc. showed strong support for Trump, while stars including Beyonce, Cardi B, Eminem, Taylor Swift, George Clooney, Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Lizzo rallied behind Harris. A study at the Harvard University also points toward the influence that celebrity voices have on voters. Campaigns that celebrities join result in a near-instant shift in the voters' registration and participation.
Just like Ghana, many of these celebrities have shown massive support for the two main political parties. But will that automatically ensure a win for these candidates? As the Americans go to the polls today, the big question again is, who takes over the White House in 2025? I am KMJ, reporting from the United States of America.
And you are still watching Prime Morning. That is exactly what is happening in the United States of America currently. Of course, KMJ has given us that report. And we'll speak with Isaac Kofi AJ. But before then, let's speak with Osman Ayariga, who is the Deputy National Youth Organizer for the NDC. Good morning, Osman.
Good morning to you.
How are you today?
We're doing well, at least. We left it just about 32 days to kick this incompetent government out of power. So.
Hey, are you sure you're kicking them out?
There's light at the end of the tunnel. You know, the MPP thought this day wouldn't come, where we would know that it will left it just 31 or 32 days to kick them out. I believe in the next 32 days, they'll be kicked out of power because the good people of this country going through the kind of hardship, going through the kind of suffering, going through the kind of pain they are going through, unprecedented, of course, are well aware that they cannot be bought with money, they cannot be bought with salt, they cannot be bought with Maggi, they cannot be bought with rice, oil, etc. They cannot sell their next 4 years of suffering for just 5 kilos of rice or money that will be dished out throughout the country. So they are ready to change this government. I've gone around the country, I've engaged the youth of this country, I've engaged both young and old, but most especially the youth of this country, and they are ready and yearning for change, and it is organic. You meet people out there and they are so desperately waiting for the 7th of December to exercise their civic responsibility of voting this government out. So I am well sure, aware, and ready to kick this government. And I know you are also going through the suffering because when we buy in fuel, I just don't buy it, you buy it as well. And there's no different price for an NDC member and a different price for someone who works at Joy Prime. So obviously you're going through the suffering we are all going through. And I just woke up this morning. Last night I slept without lights. I woke up this morning, I still didn't have lights. So, of course, the good people of this country are ready to kick this wicked government, this incompetent government out of power.
All right, Osman says that he can't wait for us to go to the polls. But when we go to the polls, you are the decider. And so if you're going through the hardship that he's claiming is there, then you know who to vote for. If you're also comfortable and you're enjoying something that maybe somebody else is not enjoying, then you know who to vote for. There are about 13 candidates on the ballot sheet. And so when you go, you cast your votes for any of them. Yesterday, Ghana Freedom Party finally came out to let us know that their flag bearer is Roman Father. He was the running mate for Madam Ekuadonko, and yesterday they outdoored him as the main person, that's the flag bearer for their political party, Ghana Freedom Party. And so that place will not be empty anymore. Like last week we were talking about it. You know, according to the law, they had 10 days within which to select somebody to become the flag bearer, and they have agreed to make Roman Father the flag bearer of the Ghana Freedom Party. So he will be on the ballot sheet to represent Ghana Freedom Party. And like I said, we take a look at America and we take a look at our Ghana, the Youth Manifesto for Political Parties. We are going to be concentrating more on the NDC's manifesto for the youth and ask you whether it's feasible. Now, you watching us at home, you can send in your messages to us on 055-157-5757, 055-157-5757. Let's get talking. Do you believe in the NDC, especially the Youth Manifesto as a youth? Do you think this is feasible enough? Taking a look at the free tertiary fees, that's the first year free tertiary fees. Are you okay with it? And then there's the Ejumera. And then there's the farming. Okay, the loan that they give to farmers, 10,000 people, is feasible. Well, Osman is here to tell us more about it. Osman, I see you underlining so many things. What are you underlining?
Well, I was just going through a few highlights of the NDC's Youth Manifesto as you were speaking. You mentioned the Ejumara project, and I just underlined it. So I just waiting for you to finish so I could throw more light
on the
Ejumara program by His Excellency John Dramani.
Can we start with the free first-year tertiary, and then we go into the Ejumara?
Yes, why not? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama and we as a party, we've gone through this country. We have traversed this country, we've traveled through the length and breadth of this country. And in the past 8 years, we've listened to the hue and cry of the youth and the young people of this country. We understand their suffering, we understand their pain, and we understand the teething problems that confront them on a daily basis. And he did make a classical story of an experience of a young boy who needed to go to the medical school in his first year. But he got the admission, but he didn't have the money to pay the fees of that admission. So we came up with a no-fee stress for level 100 students. In most schools, they call them level 100 students, but it's for first-year students. No fee stress for university first-year students. And that is to enable all first-year students to be able to gain admission and go to school free of charge. And the government has decided to absorb the first year's fees of your university admission, or the first year fees of the 4-year program or a 6-year program, depending on the program you're reading in the university.
Okay.
Within that.
If you say depending on the program, what are you talking about? It's not all
I mentioned the years, whether 4 years or 6 years.
Okay.
You know,
but
university programs,
year,
yes, university programs,
some are 4 years,
some are 4 years, some are 5 years, some are 6 years. Yes,
some
once it's a degree,
years.
yes, once it's a degree, yes. So that's why I said depending on the program you're reading. So depending on the program is dependent on the years, whether it's a 4-year program or it's a 6-year
it has to be a degree
program.
What about
it has to be a university program.
They do diploma.
Yes, so yes, university admission, first year.
Okay.
So then the next NDC administration is going to absorb the first year's fees of that university admission that you would gain. Now, what happens subsequently? Because people have asked questions like, okay, if you're paying the first year, what now happens subsequently? You know, the students have what they call, there's a student loan trust fund, which you're only eligible to or qualified to apply for the student loan trust fund when you're a student. That's what's called a student loan trust fund. It is not for potential students or qualified students. So not unless you're a student of a university, you are not eligible to even apply for that student loan trust fund. So what is going to happen is that within the first year, the next NDC administration would pay for your fees, or the government will absorb your fees. Then your preceding or the subsequent years, what will happen is that you now apply for the student loan trust fund. Then you can be given your student loan trust fund money, and that can also help you or enable you to continue with education.
To help us understand it, you don't qualify for the loan the first year. Is that what it is?
Yes, as it stands now, that's why it's called a student loan trust fund.
Okay.
And until you've gained admission and have paid your fees, you are not yet a student.
Okay. So
you may possess your admission letter, but you are not a student.
Until you've paid.
Until you've paid your
first. So you pay so that they get the opportunity to access the fund.
The fund. So that's what the next NDC administration is going to do. And people have asked questions. Initially, there were questions about the costing, and we did a calculation of the costing, unlike our opponents or our counterparts in the MPP. The last time they were asked about the costing of free SHS, when Nanado went to the United States, he said he would come and tell the Ghanaian people, and he never ever told the Ghanaian. Till date, they have been unable to actually tell us the cost of the free SHS system. But we have been able to do the costing, and the costing was arrived at around between 270 to 290 million Ghana cedis. And people have asked, where are we going to get that funding from? And His Excellency John Dramani Mahama said that it is for some of these reasons that I'm telling you that I'm going to run the leanest government in the history of this country. And I, as president, paraphrasing His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I am not going to spend close to 2 billion Ghana cedis on government machinery when I can just take out 275 million annually to be able to foot these bills. Because as it stands now, government machinery alone spends between 1.5 to 2 billion Ghana cedis annually just on government machinery.
So he's going to raise this money out of what money is used in the presidency and in the government, right?
Yes, that's part. And all the other excesses.
So it's not
all
alone.
the other.
So it's not alone.
It's not alone. It's just the same resources we have. But this time around, because you're going to prioritize the education of tertiary students, you are not going to spend it on yourself as a government, but you're going to prioritize it on young people out there who need that opportunity to gain admission or to go into the four walls of university to study a degree. And that is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is saying. He's telling you, I'm not going to engage in profligate expenditure. I'm not going to be renting a private jet at the expense of young people. I'm not going to put a chair in a Land Cruiser and be roaming with it because I, as president, I must sit on a special chair. All that comes as a cost to the good people of this country. I'm not going to engage in numerous contracts. I'm not going to engage in duplicity of contracts or rules of contracts. I'm not going to engage in inflated contracts. That will be at the detriment of the ordinary Ghanaian. So you realize that we are looking at how we can cut costs in most of the spending of this government to be able to prioritize or to put it to good use that will inure to the benefit of young people of this country. And that is what His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is seeking to do.
With regards to this, is it that John Dramani Mahama and the NDC have realized the kind of mistakes they made in 2012 into 2016, hence the sudden change?
When you say mistakes we made in 2012,
because the size of government that was made in 2016, in 2012 into 2016, obviously was way bigger than the size of government he's proposing now. That's why I'm saying that. Because at that time, again, because the heads were a lot, you would spend a lot of money on them. But now he's proposing a lean government, meaning that probably taking a look back, he's realized I made some mistakes by keeping that size of government, and I could have run it a bit less and saved this amount of money. Hence, this is what I'll do if brought back into power.
That is the benefit of an experienced hand that is coming to play. That is the benefit of someone who has experienced something that he feels that this is the right time to right some of the wrongs that may have happened in the previous government. And that is why we keep telling that it's better to take an experienced driver there than to take a mate who has actually never driven a car and doesn't even understand the fundamentals of governing this country. You realize that, yes, in the previous NDC government, compared to what we are promising now, we had a larger government. But even in that large government, it was still leaner than Kufuor's government. And it was even leaner than this current MPP's own government, where Nanado started with a huge number of over 111 ministers and counting. So you realize that you have so many ministers who you could have had ministries being merged together. Example, in the government of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, you had a Ministry of Transport, Railways, Aviation, was put together under one ministry. It was handled by just two women, the late Honorable Jifar Tivo, and currently the spokesperson for the campaign team for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, Joyce Mukhtar Bamba. Just two people. Under the same Akufo-Addo administration, that same ministry that was run by two ladies was broken down into 3 different ministries, and it was run by 6 men who still, at the end of the day, we never saw a train, we never saw any improvement at the airport, and we never saw any improvement as far as our transport is concerned. So you realize that it's not about the number of people. And yet again, they say they have the men. What 2 women were able to do in that ministry, 6 men were unable to do, even though the ministry was fragmented into 3 different ministries. So you would understand that it's not about the number of people you put there, but it's about the quality of people you put there and how you put the ministries together. Okay. And that is why this time around, His Excellency is proposing and telling you that I've run this country before, and I know we can run it with a very lean government. And that will also cut the cost and spending with which people spend so far as ministers are concerned. Because you have ministers, you have deputy ministers, you have to fuel their vehicles, you have to give them allowances, you have to make sure that, and even under this current administration, ministers have their PAs also have PAs, and they have their spokespersons, and they all draw from the national coffers. And that is what is actually choking this current government. Because you realize that there are so many people doing almost the same thing. You have the minister of states. Most of the time you hear Minister of Finance and the Minister of States in charge of Finance, Minister of State at the Finance Ministry. You realize that there's duplicity of roles. Okay. At the end of the day, they all end up doing nothing but drawing from the salaries.
Government, that will be cut out.
That will be cut out. Raise the money. And His Excellency, yes, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is saying that within 14 days after his sworn in, he's going to constitute the leanest government Ghanaians have ever seen. And that will be the best government to run this country effectively, efficiently, and to make sure that we get to our right destination.
Fantastic. So this conversation was supposed to be between the NDC and the NPP, where we'll be comparing their youth manifesto. And earlier, you did realize that I mentioned that it was for the 2 political parties. However, the NPP couldn't make it this morning, and so we have to concentrate on the NDC Youth Manifesto. And so it was supposed to be the 2 political parties, not just one political party, but the other political party is not here. And so this is what we have to do this morning. They have taken advantage of the airtime. So yes, let's.
Right. But I mean, we can. I still have the liberty of punching holes into the NPP's youth man. In fact, they don't have a youth manifesto. I'll promote mine.
So you have an opportunity. In as much as you're promoting yours, you also need to punch holes. No, when you're punching them, what you do is that you make people now hear what probably they haven't heard about this. So take advantage of the platform.
Yes, I'm taking advantage of that. Yes. But we will still have to remind Ghanaians that as it stands now, they are promising jobs, but we have 1.9 million unemployed youth. That is a serious headache to the youth of this country. And I did hear the current flag bearer of the NPP, Mahmoud Bawumia, say that they have created 2.6 million jobs. And that is a lie. That is a great lie, cooked from the office of Bawumia. And I wish the NPP representative were here. I'd have proven beyond reasonable doubt that that is a great lie. Because when you look at the statistics, mathematically, under the NDC in 2016, unemployment rate was around 8%. And when you look at the number, that was around 600,000 unemployed youth at the time in 2016. When you look at the population growth rate from 2016 to about 2023 has been hovering around 1.9% to 2%. What this means is that from 2016 to date, the population has increased by 5 million people. Now, if you're saying that you have created 2.6 million jobs, at the time, we had 600,000 unemployed youth. And you juxtapose that, you do the calculation. Then what it actually means is that in total, from 2016 to date, we should have created a total of about 2.1 million unemployed youth. So if you have created 2.6 million jobs, what it means is that then we should have more jobs chasing people, and we shouldn't even have unemployment in this country. But what do we see? We see 1.9 million unemployed youth. When you look at the NPP's manifesto in 2020, you look at the part of economic advancement, you realize that they said that they created 2.1 million jobs. And part of those jobs, they did mention that NAPCO were part of those jobs. You agree with me that NAPCO trainees are still at home without jobs. So how do you count someone sitting at home as having a job when the person is sitting at home without a job. So you realize that the so-called 2.6 million jobs is just statistics. It's not real-time jobs of people who are working.
All right.
So you are counted as having a job, but you are sitting at home without a job.
Okay.
So how is that possible
hear
that
you.
the government says they have created 2.6 million jobs? This government has never created 2.6 million jobs. They cannot create 2.6 million jobs. And if they have actually created 2.6 million jobs, then we shouldn't have unemployed youth on the streets of this country.
All right.
And that is why the NDC is promising the Ejumara program.
I was going to go into the Ejumara program.
Yes, so that is why the NDC
yes.
is promising the Ejumara program. And what does this program seek to do? This is a program that seeks to create entrepreneurs. This is a program that seeks to create young people who are ready to build their own business. And we are looking at creating a minimum of 10,000 businesses annually, not 10,000 jobs or
10,000
businesses
now
annually
break it
through
down
the youth.
to us. How are you going to create 10,000 businesses?
Yes, so there's going to be an entire elaborate program. One, the first thing we're looking at is mentoring through businesses that are already established. The second thing is we're looking at startups of young people who will be able to create jobs. Now, all you need is that we're going to go through that mentoring program, and at the end of the day, we'll also help you in terms of those who want to go into startups.
So if
then
you
the
don't
next
go
thing,
through the mentoring program, you don't get to benefit from the startup that you're going to do for them?
yeah, because we need to mentor you to know that you are ready to go out into the market.
So
to start your
everyone
business.
that
So
will have
everyone
to
that wants
be a
that
part
wants
of the
yes
10,000
yes
will
yes
have to go through that mentoring program.
absolutely.
Okay.
And quite apart from that, we're also establishing the Young Entrepreneurs Microcredit Institution.
No, before you
so
move
so
on,
that is tied to it's tied to the Ejumara.
Okay. But,
yeah,
but,
it's
but
tied
let
to
me
it.
ask a few questions with regards to the 10,000. Now, we are creating 10,000 businesses. In what sector are we looking at?
In every sector, every sector of the economy,
Okay.
be it tourism, be it agriculture, be it transportation, be it manufacturing. Every sector of the economy should be able to create 10,000 businesses in total.
And how long is the mentorship?
No, it's going to be a mentorship program.
Yeah, so how long will you do the mentorship program for?
Well, it depends. It depends on the kind of business. It depends on the kind of simulation. It depends on the kind of training. The mentorship program could be 6 months. It could be 1 year, depending on the kind of business. Because business A, maybe the sale of phones, you may not need 2 years to go through that mentorship program. Maybe the manufacturing of exercise books, you may not need 2 years to go through that program. But just maybe the business of technology or fintech, etc., you may need more time to go through the mentorship program. So it depends, and it's going to vary based on the business sector and based on mentoring or based on the mentorship program that we'll be going through. So it's not something that you just need to rush once you get in the next 2 weeks. No, because you see, to build a sustainable business, it requires a lot. It requires both your mental training, it requires financial discipline, it requires your ability to market your program, it requires your ability to market your project, market your products, etc., etc. So it is a laborious program.
Is that not
a
similar
laborious
to
project.
the national service where, you know, university or tertiary education people or graduates come out of, you know, school, they go and serve, they learn, they are mentored, and they are taken into the world? Is that not what it is?
No, that is entirely different. When you look at the National Service Act, that is tilted more towards you serving your nation and giving back to
Now,
your
we are
nation.
mentored, aren't we, when we are doing our service?
Most of the time, we are not mentored. Most of the time, you understand, I understand, everyone understands.
No, I was mentored.
That's what I say. Most of the time, the whole idea is not to mentor you. So you may just get a boss who is quite benevolent and would want to go the extra mile to enable you to be able to build yourself. But in most of the cases, yours is just to serve. If you're a secretary, yours is just to stay within the secretariat. If you're to stay within the reception and serve. And that's why it's called the national service. It's a service to the nation. You look at the act, that's what it seeks to do. It doesn't talk about mentoring you to be able to become your own entrepreneur, to be able to create your own business. But with this entrepreneurship program or this mentor program, it's to enable you to create a sustainable business that will enable you to also add value to the economy and add value to your business. So it is a program that is well orchestrated, that Mr. A or Mr. Osman is mentored by a mentor who is Mr. Emmanuel. He's not mentoring only Osman, but there's a group of young people who may want to go into construction. So he, as a person who has advanced in the construction business, is mentoring these people. And government is also monitoring and checking the progress of the mentoring.
And it's free of charge?
Yeah, it's free of charge. Government is absorbing everything. So once you're done with that mentoring, then you are allowed to go out there, you set up your business. Government helps you in setting up your business. Government helps you with some startups. And that will also bring you to the Young Entrepreneurs Micro Credit Institution, where government is seeking to put aside 750 million cedis to disperse affordable loans to young people.
That's 10,000. The mentorship. Do you have, an estimation of what will be put in there for the mentorship program?
You mean
an amount of money that will cost in that, the creation of the 10,000 jobs?
No, as for the mentorship program, we're not costing that.
Okay.
We're not costing that.
Right.
But what we are costing is that beyond the mentorship program, what kind of available funds
for the startups?
For the startups.
Okay.
And that's what will bring you to the Young Entrepreneurs Microcredit,
okay. All right.
which government is going to put aside 750 million to disburse as affordable loans to young entrepreneurs who come out of this mentorship program. Some of the mentees may have programs that may not actually require money. Some of them you just need an idea, and with very little resources, or sometimes just some gadgets would help you in that regard. Some will require some financing, and that will now bring you to the Young Entrepreneurs Microcredit, which government will put aside some money to enable young people to build a business, young people to make a good living for themselves. Because we're looking at creating an environment where young people themselves are able to employ other young people, so that you don't create an environment where every graduate is employment dependent. Everyone is waiting to be employed. Everyone is roaming with an application letter. No, we're looking at making sure that young people are able to create businesses themselves in the next NDC administration. So if you have 10,000 businesses being created annually, and we're looking at making sure that this business is
fund for that.
Yes, we're looking at making sure that this business are able to employ at least a minimum of 50 people, depending on the kind of business you are running. If you're able to do the mathematics, we're looking at almost over 500,000 people annually creating, so far as business is concerned. So you would realize
but you need to be able to prove that you can run that business.
Absolutely, and that is why we're talking about the mentorship. That's why you go through the mentorship program.
Okay, so how much are we looking at with regards to each business, the grant that is going to be? Is it going to be a grant or is it a loan?
Or it's an affordable loan.
It's an affordable loan.
So as I said, it depends, because someone who decides to sell tomatoes will not require the same amount of money as someone who decides to manufacture pure water. So it will depend on the business you decide to engage.
However, what's the least we are given? Do we have any idea?
Well, it still depends on the business.
Okay.
Because someone may come and all he needs is just a phone to enable his business.
Okay.
Somebody may come, he needs a manufacturing line to start his business.
I need like $100,000 to start my business.
It depends.
Okay.
It will depend on the kind of business you want to do.
Okay.
Yes. And when we talk about startups, we're not looking at you starting up very big.
Okay.
So
starting up quite affordable.
100,000 looks like a loan you have to go to maybe a bigger bank.
All right. Okay. So this time around, the government will give the loan, and the interests are going to be really, really low.
Affordable, yes, for young entrepreneurs.
Grants. All right.
Yes.
And then what else?
Yes, so we're looking at also implementing the Land and Farm Bank project.
No, but before you continue, is government going to have its eyes on these businesses all the time, or they give the money, you go, and that is it, and you will just be paying off your loan? Or government has a plan of making sure that these businesses do not die off?
No, government would have a plan making sure that this business do not die off, because we are not interested in giving people loans one-off where they will come back with stories. We're looking at actually helping those businesses to grow, helping those businesses to expand, helping those businesses to also transcend centuries, so that you don't have a one-generation business. We're looking at creating an environment where we can build global businesses, looking at creating young people to be the likes of Dangote, to be the likes of billionaires, the likes of Ibrahim Mahama, etc., etc. So that we know that at least we are creating employment. Because when you look at some of these private companies, they actually create huge employment for so many young people. And that is what we are looking at doing. So it's not just that we're going to mentor you after that we leave you. No, we'll mentor you beyond that. Government will be interested in your business. Government will be interested in making sure that you transcend boundaries, you transcend generations, because it's also inure to the benefit of government and beyond the citizens.
Okay. So if you are a Ghanaian and you're watching and you are either a parent or a youth or a young person and you believe this is very feasible, let's hear your voice this morning. Send your messages to us on 055 157 055 1575757. Let's get into it. Let's get to know what you think about NDC's Youth Manifesto. Now, earlier, we didn't reach out to only the NDC. We reached out to the two main political parties, at the NDC and the NPP. However, the NPP couldn't make it this morning. And so for now, we are fixated on the NDC's Youth Manifesto. So what's the next one you want to talk about? I think
the next one we want to talk about, which is also key to the progress of this country, is towards agriculture for the youth. Most times people feel that when we speak about agriculture, it's supposed to be practiced by the old in society. Agriculture is for the poor in society. But I'll encourage young people that the next thing to happen to the next generation is agriculture. And we encourage young people to go into agriculture. And that is why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is implementing what we call the Land and Farm Bank. We all understand the kind of land tenure system we go through. And because of that, it's actually scaring young people to go into agriculture. The land system is so expensive. The land system is so laborious. The land system is so confusing and complicated. That makes it very difficult for young people to go into agriculture. So what the government is going to do this time around is to acquire most of the lands through the chiefs and demarcate or fragment all those lands into various units and various plots. And when you're a young person, you want to go into farming, if you want to do 10 acres, you want to do 20 acres, all you need to do is to register with the government and say, I want to do 20 acres. And government gives you the land, because by then the land now belongs to government. Government gives you the land to farm as and when you feel or you want to farm.
Are you going to pay the government back? Are you going to own the land, or you're just going to use it for a period?
Only using it for farming purpose.
No, so how long can you keep that land for farming purpose?
No, it depends on the agreement government goes with the chiefs, and government has the power to acquire the land, especially for farming purpose. This is not for developmental purpose.
I know. I'm just asking. Yes, they can tell you that they've leased the land to you for 5 years.
Yes.
And after 5 years, come and pay. Or they tell you they've leased it to you for 10 years.
You mean the chiefs or?
No, I mean the government. And so,
you mean to the farmers?
Yes.
No,
so,
you're not paying. You're not paying. No,
to
the farmers, you're not paying. Government still owns the land. Yours is like you just come in. It's like a lease system where you just come in to use the land to farm. Yeah, so it's not you are not paying the land when government gives you the land.
I
to
get
farm.
you. I'm just saying.
There's a component you pay back.
Okay.
And that is not the land. The land, government acquires the land. So assuming you want to go into farming, I am government. I acquire maybe 30 acres. You come to me that you want to farm maybe 3 acres of the land. No problem. I demarcate the 3 acres for you that you are free to go and farm. Once you're a youth, a young person, you want to go into agriculture. This is not for big agricultural businesses or big agricultural companies. This is for young people, the youth that want to go into agriculture. So we give you maybe 3 acres of land. In addition to that 3 acres of land, there's what we call the Farmers Service Center. Now, the Farmers Service Center would have all forms of farm inputs and implements. So if you want to plow the land, and at the time you acquire the land from government, you don't have the money to plow the land, that Farmers Service Center will plow the land for you, but they calculate how much you owe government for plowing the land. If you need a seedlings or you need the inputs, that same farm service system will give you the inputs. They'll calculate how much you owe government. If you need fertilizer, that same service system will give you fertilizer. Whatever you will need from growing the land all the way, growing the farm all the way to harvesting, government will provide it for you. By the end of the day, when you sell your produce, you would come back and pay what you owe government in terms of the inputs and the services.
All right.
You pay the same amount for the input and service. So you don't invest anything. Government invests, but you are the one who is going to be monitoring your farm. You are the one who is going to have.
So you can go zero.
Pay government. Yes, you can go zero. Yes.
Let's break it down. You can go zero.
Yes.
Government will do almost everything for you.
Yes.
However, when you start selling,
yes,
you start paying some of the things, and some of the things are plowing.
Yes.
The seedlings.
Yes.
The fertilizer.
Yes.
What about the workers?
Yes, the workers. It depends on the agreement you go into government.
Okay, so
well. It's because government sometimes can pay the workers for you. But just at the end of the day, once you sell the produce, you need to come back based on the calculation, based on what government has input there for you.
Okay.
You pay the same amount.
Okay. That's when you start
without
reaping.
interest. When you start reaping, yes.
And what is the reaping time frame like? Are we looking at you start paying after 1 year, you start paying?
Well, it depends on what you're growing. Example, if you're growing vegetables, within 3 months you should start harvesting and selling. So if you're growing vegetables, within 3 months you should be ready to start paying back. If you're growing maybe cash crop, that would take about 2-3 years, depending on the crop you want to go into. If you're growing maybe maize, if you're growing maybe granules, that takes about another 4 months or so, you start harvesting. So you realize that it depends on whatever you want to go into. It depends on what, if it's also into animal husbandry, it depends on the number of months that you want to be rearing all those animals. So it is dependent on what you want to go to as far as agriculture is concerned. Because someone decides to go into vegetable, that takes about 3 months and you're ready to harvest.
All right.
Ready to
Again, I ask this question. How long are you getting that land for? My reason for having this question or asking this question is because we've seen situations where government has given this person this. The next thing is that, oh, somebody else is coming to take over. Until how long are you given the land for? How long?
No, it depends on how long you, the farmer, want to farm on the land. Because maybe you want to farm for 2 years. The next 3 or 4 years.
Who want to farm for 2 years?
No, it depends. It depends on you, the farmer, what you may want to do. Or maybe you want to do vegetable this year. You want to do maize the next year. And, you know, sometimes, depending on the area, it also determines what you should grow around it. So if you did vegetables maybe around Osu this year, and the next year you want to do maize, just maybe the land around Osu is more viable for vegetables. So, of course, government will have to relocate you to where it feels that it is more viable for you to do maize. So it depends on how long you want to farm, what you want to farm, and where exactly you want to do it.
So there's no cap on the number of years.
So it's not infinite. No, it's not that once government allocates the land to you, it's forever. And more so, more so. Let me make this point. More so, you may actually need it just for 6 months, whilst another farmer may also need it for 3 months. So if I'm doing maybe between January to July, I'm doing maize between January to July, depending on the season. And somebody also wants to do irrigation between July to December. The fact that the land was given to me between January to July doesn't mean that for the next 6 months, the land should lie fallow, whilst another person may want to use it. So it depends on the program and how.
So you'll be doing shift system on the land?
Absolutely, because even in farming, we do what we call shifting cultivation, we do mixed cultivation, depends on how you want to you farm. If you want to farm all year round, that is also fine. But if you want to farm according to seasons, and someone also wants to farm within the dry season, Mr. A should be able to farm, whilst at the end of the 3 months, if it goes off, Mr. B should also be able to use that same land, which will also generate some income. It's going to be an all year round system, just like we're talking about a 24-hour economy. So this is also going to be a 365-day farming program. So it's not as if you just do during the rainy season. At the end of the day, we pack the land and allow it to fallow for the next 3-4 months or 5 months. No, as and when we need people, as and when people need the land, the government is just to make sure that, okay, this land is available for this kind of crop cultivation. This land is available.
What if I come to you with a proposal of a crop cultivation for dry season? However, once the dry season is over, now I want to go into cultivation for something for the wet season. Can you still allow me
Absolutely.
that?
If you want to farm all year round, we want people to farm all year round because we need young people in agriculture, because we need to feed this country. We need to feed this country and even export our produce. So if you're able to farm all year round, we will be happy to engage you. We will be more than happy to engage. And that is what we want to do. We want you to farm all year round, from January to December. People are on the farms, people are working. From during the rainy season, we're using the rains. During the dry season, we are irrigating.
Is it for all Ghanaians or it's for only party card holders?
It's for Ghanaian youth.
Okay.
And party card holders are also Ghanaian youth.
Okay.
So they all fall within the bracket.
Okay, so it's for all. It's just a question.
That's a mischievous question.
we just want to understand so that we don't get there and then somebody will ask, where's your party card? Before we allocate the land to you. So, anyway, we'll be taking some messages pretty shortly. We are still on the NDCC Youth Manifesto. And if you actually think that this manifesto is feasible, you can send in your messages to us. If you think it's not feasible as well, you can still go ahead and send in your messages to us on 055-157-5757, 1575757. And so let's see the comments that have come in so far. Anyway. All right, let's see. What do we have? Ooh, okay. Quite a few, I must say. All right, so I'm going to start from here. Okay, so this one is not about what we are talking about. So this one said, good morning, please. MPP should for once stop lying to us. Okay, this is not what we are talking about. All right, so dear Rosalie, it seems the U.S. is going to have a first female president because Kamala Harris is having an edge over Trump. Back home, Akufo-Addo Bawumia and Gertrude Torkornoo-led Supreme Court has made Parliament subservient to the Supreme Court because anything Parliament does, there seems to be a sort of Damocles, okay, hanging around their heads, and this is a dangerous trend under Akufo-Addo, which must be checked. Okay. This one says that, good morning, we are practicing childish politics. It's very sad that my so-called learned Ghanaian politicians don't love their country. We aren't fools. How can a government put heavy taxes on businesses and turn back and tell you that I will create jobs for the youth? Lies, lies, lies. Ghanaians, why? Fake talk lies. God will judge all of you who are playing with our lives. Look at how we are suffering. All right, Bawumia can't use the SNIT figures as a yardstick for job creation. SNIT was in town registering market women and petty traders. He always condemns the 24-hour economy as if he hasn't traveled outside Ghana before. I still have my money at a GN Bank, which was collapsed by the government. He should pay us before it's too late for him. Akonse Gariba from Tamale says, please ask the NDC gentleman whether he believes that Ghanaians have short memory. According to John Mahama, the NDC told Ghanaians that anything free is not good. May I know what has changed for the NDC to now promising first-year university students free education? A rollback of Mr. Mahama and NDC administration will remind Ghanaians of the dark days of total doomsday in Ghana. The best man leader for Ghanaians now is Dr. Alhaji Bawumia, vote number 1. Okay. I love the Bible. It's new every day. Jesus' parable for the two sons, Matthew 21:28-32. All right. The NDC refused to sign any Peace Pact 2024 because of the 2020 experience leading to the murder of 8 human beings. But when the Peace Council, Christian Council Chief Imam called a peace talk last week, the NPP Nanado and Bawumia snapped these eminent Ghanaians. But the NDC, John Mahama, traveled from the north and gave respect to the Christian Council and Chief Imam. Out of the abundance of heart, the mouth speaks. NDC is committed to peace than NPP. From Patrick. Good morning, Madam Roslyn. I trust God you are doing well. Continue your good work. Thank you so much. Number 1, our current NPP government claimed they have created 2.6 million jobs. Do these people include many individuals with dependents who painfully lost their jobs and livelihood during the so-called banking sector cleanup in 2017? I'll be glad they come out with evidence to substantiate their claim of jobs. Otherwise, our government is being unfair to those who painfully lost their jobs and livelihood in the questionable bank cleanup. God save our motherland. Thank you, Obed from Cape Coast. Good morning, Roslyn. The NDC Youth Manifesto is a game changer that will contribute to the national development. I encourage all parents and youths in Ghana to support and vote the NDC for the interest of our country. Bullet GH from Seshiba Kwai. Good morning, Roslyn. My name is Roslyn, not Joyce. The NDC Youth Manifesto policies are the best, especially for me, the Nkukon Kitikete, where youth will be encouraged to go into poultry farming. The NPP and their flag bearer, who are making mockery over the policy, shows how ignorant they are. Good morning, madam. Kindly ask him how different this program is going to be from other entrepreneurial programs from the current and past government. It appears this has always been there and repackaged all the time, but we ain't seen the results. Also, in terms of agriculture, the rains have failed farmers this year alone twice. How will they ensure that all their input and support given are not wasted by the absence of rains? I want to hear more about irrigation. Yeah, this is coming from Emmanuel Derry inside Solar. I think this is a very good point. And so I'll come to you, Osman, with regards to this question, okay? Osman, you answer this question for me.
On irrigation?
Yes, any plans on irrigation? Because it's a very, very concerned thing where people are complaining, especially people in the north. The rains fail them, and so having to have the produce was a problem. Good morning, Roslyn, and your panelists, especially Ayariga. Roslyn, I have a problem with the way you moderate the I'm biased towards the NPP and always appear to attack the NDCs. That's not true, and I'll not accept it. I'm sorry. That's not true. Because one day, today, they tell me that I am for the NDC. The next day, they tell me I'm for the NPP. Really? Meshak Asante Atamasaman, the wind of change is blowing every corner of the country, and it will be in the interest of NPP to step down from the race in order to avoid a heavy, disgraceful defeat awaiting them in the next 1 month to come. This is a free advice they can choose to take or not. And again, Ghanaians are still waiting for Dr. Bawumia to come and answer to the 5 questions asked by President Mahama. And if he's able to answer even 2 out of the 5 questions, we'll consider him and give him 35% in the general elections. If not, his 25% is still awaiting him. Good morning. Please ask Osman for me, if JDM come to power, what will they do to DAPCO trainees as we are still sitting at home? Another question for you. Okay. Good morning, beautiful host. The NDC youth organizer is just making moronic noise and lies, and I think they can't offer us anything. Okay, we should vote for Bawumia. We hear you. Good morning, Roslyn. Please ask your guest, if one have say a 3-acre land, would he be supported and how? This is a very good question as well. So he wants to know, if he has a 3-acre land, will you be able to support such a person to also farm? Or maybe the government will decide to buy the land of the person, or government will decide.
No, if you already have a 3-acre farm, you fall under the farmer service system.
The farmer service system.
Yes, under the farmer service centers.
Okay.
So with that one, we'll help you to plow the land, we'll help you to till the land, we'll help you with inputs, we'll help you with seedlings, we'll help you with seeds.
And then when you start making the produce?
When you start making the produce, based on what has been given you, you have to then restock the bank.
Okay, so it's like a loan in a way.
It's like a loan, but it comes in the form of the seedlings, the goods, the implements, and sometimes even the technical know-how.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, I'm Nijagwa from Alajo, and I just want you to know that you are 1 in a million this morning. I love your hairstyle. More so, I want you to help me to warn the NPP. They should stop sending me messages on my phone because I have no business to do with them. I don't even know how they get my number. NDC all the way. Hey, they've been sending you messages, eh? I see. Anyway, so you can still send in your messages, and we'll read them. Osman, a few messages came in. I know you wrote them. I might not remember them offhand, but you wrote them. And so, which one are you going to start with?
I think I wrote just one, one that has to do with the NAPCO trainees. Yes. So that's why we keep telling young people of this country, not only NAPCO trainees, so many people have lost their jobs. And that is why you have the unemployment figures run to about 1.9 million unemployed youth. And that is why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is telling you that he has a good policy for all young people who are seeking to be employed. Quite apart from the Ejuma Rural Project, we're also looking at the farm service system. Quite apart from that, we're also looking at, of course, the almighty game changer, which will be the 24-hour economy. The MPP has decided to run to the market that they do not understand the 24-hour economy. But we are not surprised they don't understand the 24-hour economy, or they have decided not to understand the 24-hour economy. These are people, when we said we should review the free SHS, they said it meant to cancel it, or they said it meant cancellation. So we are not surprised they go out to the market with such stories. So NAPCO trainees, every youth of this country should hold on to the NDC, because the 24-hour economy is one that has come and will come to triple the employment or the labor numbers as far as employment is concerned. Because we're looking at making sure that one job has 3 shifts and will take care of 3 people. So if you have a service or a company that is taking 100 people, if you're able to implement a 24-hour economy very well, that same company is going to be employing 300 people, because they're going to go through the 3-shift system, and it's going to increase the employment. And of course, to that company, what will be the incentive for them to go into a 24-hour economy? We'll be looking at making sure that we are giving them some tax holidays, looking at re-taxing them, also looking at making sure that at the end of the day, even the energy consumption during the night, where they will be implementing the 24-hour economy, will be recalculated for them, so that you will have some they'll have a difference
But is it
in
fair
energy
to,
consumption.
is it fair to say that this 24-hour economy will only be feasible for certain sectors and not all sectors, right?
Absolutely. Not all sectors can do 24-hour economy, but the sectors that can do 24-hour economy, government will give them that stimulus package to boost them to be able to implement the 24-hour economy. Because we're looking at manufacturing companies. We're looking at manufacturing companies also manufacturing beyond just the demand of the local
So this is where
markets.
the issue is. Most manufacturing companies are saying that they already run 24-hour economy, where they 24-hour shift system, where they have a situation where there are some night workers and some day workers, and so they already have a running. And so this proposal to them is something that they do already.
Yes, so why is good this time around? You see, anytime government is pushing for a policy, it doesn't mean that to a small extent it is not already happening. What government seeks to do is to boost that policy, to make it so attractive that almost everyone is hooking onto it. Not almost every factory does 24 hours. It's just a few that do 24 hours. And even day, it's not 24 hours. They just do the day and the night. That is not 24 hours. 24 hours when you run entire clock 24 hours. They don't do the 3-shift system. They just do, most of them do just the 2-shift system. And most of them actually do just a night manufacturing system. And during the day, what they do is the transportation, the marketing, and the distribution. And I've seen companies and factories. I've seen companies and factories
day and night. Please break it down to me. What time does the night start? What time does it end? What time does the day start? What time does
most of the time they just do the day. So the day is 8 to 5. It ends there. Maybe the night. Yes, so they do day and night. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Most of the companies do day and night. They do 8 to 5 in the morning. Then they break there. Then they are off till about in the night, where they come back maybe around 8 in the night again, or maybe 9 o'clock in the night, and they do to about 4 a.m. And most of those factories that you're talking about, I can give you a classical example. I've seen maybe a manufacturing company, maybe a pure water manufacturing company. So you would think they're doing it 24 hours, but they're actually not doing 24 hours. So they do the production of the water during the night. And during the day, they stop production, and now the distributors, the trucks come and they load the water and they go. So it's not 25. So during the day, they realize that manufacturing is not ongoing; it's just distribution. So that is not 24 hours. That is not 24.
Is distribution not work? Don't you pay them within?
That is not. But the company or the manufacturing plant is not working 24 hours. They are doing a night shift, and they are doing a night shift. And during the day, what now happens is just sale and distribution of the product. That is not that is not that is a night shift system. So that's why we're telling that's what we're explaining.
I get you.
Yeah, that's what we're explaining to Ghanaians, that let us not confuse the 24-hour economy with a night shift system. Let's
explain it better. The fact that my machines are running at this time, and the next time is supposed to be distribution, doesn't mean that distribution is not work. Because those who come and do the distribution, that is their hours for work.
Yes.
It's just different from the fact that the machine is running. And so it doesn't make it less than the probably 24 hours.
It makes it less than.
How?
So you could have manufacturing 24 hours. You could still have distribution 24 hours. You get a point. You can still have distribution 24 hours and still have manufacturing 24 hours. So if I run a pure water factory and I do manufacturing in the night, and during the day, I've closed down, and the rest is for the distributors to come and carry the produce or the products and go and distribute. I'm not running a 24-hour system. I'm just doing a night shift. So that's what I explained. We're looking at companies like this, going beyond the night shift system and doing the 24-hour system. So they need to produce also even beyond demand. So we even look at export. I just used the pure water as an example for people who are able to easily relate to understand that most of the time that's what happens. People just do the night shift, and during the day they are not working. So to also make sure that people don't move their production from only day to night to enjoy the incentive or the stimulus package that comes with the 24-hour economy, you must work all clock round. That's a 24-hour system to be able to enjoy.
Is it the doing the same thing that makes it 24 hours?
Doing it 24 hours makes it 24 hours. Yes, doing the same thing 24 hours makes it 24 hours.
Can't you
because,
have,
for example,
have different things in a company? We run 24-hour economy.
Yes.
24-hour business. Here, we run 24-hour business. But we all don't work the same thing. I do my morning show. I do my afternoon show. I'm done.
Another person comes to do
a
different show.
No.
So, but the station is running. But the station is running 24 hours.
That's what I'm saying. So the company is running
Yes.
24 hours.
Yes.
The water company is running. There are people that will do distribution. It is work. They get paid for it. There are people that come and do the machine where the water is going into the packaging. It's work. And so whichever way you find it, it's work.
Yes, so that's why let us not confuse ourselves. Let us not confuse the 24-hour economy by letting companies shift to night production.
Okay.
And during the day, they are doing distribution. Then we call it 24 hours. What it will just mean is that now we are just moving the economy from a day economy into a night economy.
Okay.
And that is what we're telling that is not what we're looking at. We're looking at a 24-hour economy, not moving the economy from a day economy into a night economy. If you're doing production during the night and you're doing distribution during the day, that is not 24-hour economy. That's just moving production from maybe during the day to the night. What you can do is to have 24-hour economy, distribution both day and night, manufacturing both day and night. Okay. You manufacture beyond even the demand of this country, so that we all can now export, be it manufacturing, be it pharmaceuticals, be it anything that we need to manufacture. We need to do it 24 hours. Then you can enjoy the benefits and the stimulus packages that come with a 24-hour economy. If that is not done, if you're not careful, businesses now knowing that, oh, it is cheaper to do business in the night, we'll start doing more production in the night and not do anything during the day. Then at the end of the day, we've not been able to achieve the 24-hour economy. So the 24-hour economy is to make sure that production is done 24 hours and not moving it from day into the night. Okay. That is what we're looking at doing. So for young people out there, it is good that you hook on to the NDC. Let us listen and let us pay attention. Let us buy into the vision of the former president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, because he is a person that has done it before. He's the experienced hand that will be able to take us to where we ought to be and where we need to be. We have tried this current government, and this government has failed abysmally. They promised us heaven, and we are experiencing hell. And they continue to promise day and night. Every day they are promising. Every day they are renewing their promises. I listen to most of their promises, and I ask myself, it's just a matter of time, and Bawumia will start promising us snow in Ghana. Because you listen to the promises and you realize that these are just edited promises of their previous promises, of which they have already failed Ghanaians. And we call on the young people of this country that the NDC is a party that is ready to reset this country. It's ready to bring this country to its days of glory. It's ready to make sure that young people are employed. It's able to make sure that young people are able to afford themselves a decent living. It's to make sure that young people, whenever or whatever money you have in your pocket, you have value for the monies you have in your pocket. Okay. Your money is not worthless, your money is not valueless, and your money is not dissipating at an alarming rate or disappearing at an alarming rate from your pockets. You made so much noise about the fact that he is an economic whiz kid. Today, Bawumia has run away from the economy, and we hardly even hear him speak about the economy because what? The fundamentals have exposed him. And he himself said it, that once the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. And today, exchange rate has exposed Bawumia at an all-time high of 17 Ghana cedis. And that is unacceptable for young people.
Please explain something to me. What's the difference between the YEA and the YEB? Yours is what? YEB. And this YEA. So what's the difference?
Which YEB?
Youth Employment Bureau.
Bureau, yes.
What's the difference between what we have, the Youth Employment Agency and the Youth Employment Bureau?
So, for the first time in the history in this country, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is creating what we call the Ministry for Youth Development. And under the Ministry for Youth Development, we're going to have the Labor Office and other offices fall under the Ministry of Youth Development. All offices that will be in charge of youth employment will fall under the Ministry of Youth Development. The Youth Employment Agency is currently an agency that deals in youth employment. Now, the YEB, the Youth Employment Bureau, the Youth Employment Agency looks at recruiting people, looks at recruiting youth. That is why you have all these programs, such as the youth in police, youth in fire service. They have all these programs that they run under the Youth Employment Agency. Now, under the Youth Bureau, we're looking at having a one-stop shop for people who also want to go into business creation, want to go to business registration, who want to acquire the necessary documentation for their businesses. Because currently, even for a young person who wants to register a business, you need to go to the Registrar General. You need to look for someone who would help you. Sometimes you go there and it's almost like what they call the Goro Boy system. So the Youth Bureau is one that will help you in terms of your business registration, in terms of how to teach you how to file your businesses, in terms of your tax filing, in terms of how to even put together your company profile to be able to tender or to bid for a contract, etc., etc. So it's a bureau that will help you to also develop your business. Assuming you have a business, you just need to enhance it, you need to develop it. So that is why it's a bureau. So the Labor Office will fall under the Youth Employment Bureau, and that will help us in terms of employment and helps of also building your businesses. That is also coming to help so far as the mentorship is concerned. So there's a big difference between the YEA and the YEB.
So this is more of creation of employment database.
Yes,
for
and
young
to help
people.
young people to be able to
host
register
the
their
data.
businesses.
Oh,
Yes.
to register their businesses. Okay, right. And so what, registration of businesses by young people now becomes easier and free?
Yes, it becomes easier.
And free?
Well, almost when you go to register a business, you pay at the Registrar General.
Yeah.
So, of course, the Registrar General will take their fees. I cannot take that away from Registrar General. That is backed by law.
Okay.
I mean, that is backed by law. If you want to take out that fees, it's a whole process it has to go through. You have to go to Parliament, before you take out certain fees or even increase the fees. So that has to do
But I'm
with
not really hearing grants in this. Are you going to give grants to the youth that probably want to go into business? Because the loan is a scare word now. When we, especially hearing of the interest on loans, and when we keep talking about loan, it becomes a bit scary. No matter how you promise them that the interest rate is going to be low. So, but I'm not really seeing much of grants in here. Why so?
Well, it also has to do with how we want young people to approach business. Because if you're not careful and it's all about grant, and people do not feel responsible to pay back whatever money they are given, there's a tendency not to attach so much seriousness. So if you observe, in most cases, people are giving grants when the authorities see that you've built a business to a certain point and you actually need a grant or a stimulus to push you to another level. So first and foremost, we're looking at you being responsible enough to hold on to the business to a certain time. Then we can think of the grant. Don't forget that in times past, we were giving grants to so many businesses. Don't forget that there was YES, yes, which later was changed under this government to NIEP. That was formulated under the NDC government, where we gave grants to so many businesses. So it is still there, but now I think it has been renamed as NIEP. That was headed at the time by late Honorable John Kumar. That was under the NDC. So we haven't forgotten about grants. But grants, one, you need to build a business to a certain extent. Then we look at giving you grants to be able to advance it or to enlarge or to upgrade to a certain level. So we haven't forgotten about that. Just that you don't start businesses by the time that you're giving everybody a grant. At the end of the day, if Rosalind comes to take a grant, and tomorrow tells you,
I know so many people
if
who
Rosalind
have
comes to
actually
take a
gone for grants and they used to buy cars. And
if Rosalind comes for a grant and uses to buy a Mercedes Benz, and tomorrow tells you that,
before somebody thinks that I bought my car with a grant, I didn't.
No, if Rosalind comes to take a grant, and the next day she goes to buy a Mercedes Benz, I can't tell that, the poultry, the akukon kitten I said I was going to go into, some, what do you call it, fire came to burn, or some, what was that sickness? Is it chicken flu or whatever flu came to clear the entire farm? What else can you say? But you see, when you feel responsible that I need to pay it, you work hard to pay it, no matter how little the interest may be. Because we're looking at how you can also restock whatever bank it is that you are taking from.
Another thing I want us to take a look at is the youth in mining. There is so much alarm with regards to Galamsey, and you have in here what you will do with regards to the young ones who are into mining. Please help us.
Yes, so we are, if you look at our manifesto, we look at a youth in mining program. So we're looking at how we can train youth to go into responsible mining. And
not Galamsey.
Not Galamsey. Okay. Most importantly, it's responsible mining. You see, you can have the lease, you can have all your documentation, but you'll still be engaging in irresponsible mining. And that is also illegal because you're polluting our water bodies. And funny enough, someone may not have the license. The person is engaging in galamsey. Galamsey just has to do with illegal mining. So somebody may be engaging in illegal mining, but may not be polluting the water bodies. So we need to understand where we find ourselves. Both legal and illegal mining, the most important denominator is the fact that there should be responsible mining. So you could have all your leases, you could have all your permits, but you'll be engaging in irresponsible mining, and that will lead to the pollution of our water bodies. And that is what government, or the next NDC government, is seeking to do. We are not saying we are stopping small-scale mining or we are stopping mining in its entirety, but we are making sure that we stop irresponsible mining that seeks to pollute our water bodies and deplete our forest reserve. Simplicity. That is what we're seeking to do. So we are going to hold the bull by the horn and make sure that we're able to stop that. We are done with the normal rhetorics coming from His Excellency Akufo-Addo. I put my presidency on the line. I'll make sure I stop galamsey. Yet at the heart of the presidency, that is where galamsey is actually taking place. Right close to the president's own garden in the eastern region. Galamsey was happening there. You drive through the eastern region right now today, even close to the main road, there's serious galamsey ongoing there. Just last 2 weeks, I saw a story where there's been galamsey even close to the police station. I think was it in Yinem or somewhere in the eastern region. And the police themselves were helpless. That should tell you the kind of impunity the illegal miners have got into.
Right. So I want to read a bit about what you have. We will, among others, implement a land reclamation action plan through a tree growing policy, employing young people to grow, adopt, and nurture trees. I think that we already plant trees, don't we? All right. Oh, we don't. We do. Do centralize the regulatory and licensing processes for artisanal miners, employ the use of modern technology, inclusive of geofencing, to protect water bodies, forest zones, and farmlands from illegal mining. Provide access to young miners in responsible small-scale mining to acquire mining equipment through a government support scheme. Ensure that mining operations are not conducted in unapproved areas such as water bodies, and that the concession holders rehabilitate impacted areas. I see, you have a lot. And so with regards to all of these, how do you plan to
facilitate the setting up of mining equipment in each
up.
small-scale mining district to ensure easy and affordable access to necessary mining equipment. So you realize that in everything we're doing, government is seeking to engage itself from the beginning to the end of the mining. So far as the mining is concerned, so far as the land reclamation is concerned, to making sure that I mentioned the fact to make sure there's responsible mining, and there's mining in such a way that does not seek to destroy our water bodies, and to also decentralize the documentation and the permits and the licensing of small-scale mining companies. So that will have to do with Minerals Commission, EPA, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology. We need to decentralize it so that it is within the district, because they are very close to the mining site. Everything doesn't have to come all the way to the headquarters. That will seek to make sure that there's proper and responsible mining. As it stands now, the enforcement of responsible mining now is just within the DC's strength and the RegSec and the DISEC. So we're looking at how we can decentralize it so there's responsible mining. Rosalind, in this mining issue and galamsey issue, it falls down to just responsible mining, that people just need to mine responsibly. And you see, mining responsibly has a lot of things that it entails a lot. One, even the technical know-how as to how to mine responsibly. Most people don't have that technical know-how. They just know that I just need to dig the ground, I just need to wash it, and I have gold. There's a way small-scale miners can mine that would be very responsible and would surely you can, at the end of the day, get your gold, and at the end of the day, the environment will still be clean. So government is looking at how we can train small-scale miners to go into this responsible mining. And that is what we seek to do. We're not saying that you need to stop mining. No, people need to make a living. We understand that people need to mine. We need to increase gold production. But we also need to do that responsibly. And that's why government needs to have an interest in how people mine. Government needs to go down there and teach them in terms of how to mine responsibly. And that is the problem. Most people do not just know how to mine responsibly, Although some
And
also
if you
know
do
and decide.
illegal, and if
Although
you do illegal, what
as for illegal, it's a non-starter.
Okay.
Once it's illegal. You are stopped.
All right.
Once it's illegal, it's stopped.
All right.
Yes.
So we want to actually go into our next conversation, which is America. What's happening in America as they cast their votes today? I like how you laughed. Of course, we have a few days to hours, but right now we want to concentrate on what is happening in America. Isaac Kofi Ajay is joining us. Hi, Kofi. Kindly unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Are you in Washington?
I'm in Accra.
Oh, but you say you are in Washington. Are you in Washington? All right.
It's in DC.
Tell us what's happening currently, please. What the polls
Again,
look
please.
like.
Hi, Rosalie. Can you come again with your question?
No, I was saying, tell us exactly what is happening currently. What's the standings? Today they go cast their vote. Of course, the early voters have casted their vote already, but how does it look like so far?
Well, so far on the side of the early voters, we have more than 78 million people who have actually gone to cast their vote. Just this morning, there's a small village in New Hampshire called, Duxville Notch. They were actually the first to cast their ballot, and that ballot has been counted. And guess what? The total number of voters there was 6. There were actually 6. And that 6, the result actually paints a picture of how close this year's, election will be between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. I mean, when they counted the votes, you have about 3 for Donald Trump and 3 for Kamala Harris. That tells you that in that small score, and notch, there's a split. 50 for Trump and 50 for Harris. So that actually paints a picture of how the national picture probably will look in the next few hours when they start to count the vote. But what we can report is that currently voting is underway in America. And apart from the early voting, we've had, the real election day voting going on. And that small village in New Hampshire they're done voting and that ballot has been counted.
And so with them, the electoral vote is quite split. So nobody gets to win there, right?
Absolutely.
Quite interesting. Now, let's take a look at what we have so far with regards to the electoral vote. With the kind of votes that have come in, who is leading with electoral votes?
Well, in terms of electoral votes, in fact, at the moment, it's still early days here to start computing who has majority of that 538 electoral vote that they will be looking at. I mean, unlike Ghana, where we always look at 50% plus one, we go according to the popular vote. America goes with what they call the electoral vote, just like you put it. 538, you need to get more than half of it. That is why they call it road to 270 or 269 plus one. And just like you have on your screens, these are actually data from the early voting. That is the first part that we saw yesterday. And we've seen that updated figure of the 78 million people that we are seeing so far. But in terms of the electoral votes, I think in the next 7 or 8 hours or 9 hours, we will start knowing who is leading, especially when there's clear indication that some towns and counties have started voting and counting is actually underway at the moment.
Well, yesterday we heard that the Democrats had a slight win over the Republicans. Is it still the same?
Well, yesterday figures that we saw were actually estimates from data analysts and people who are actually monitoring the polls. But what I can report is that it's very, very difficult to know the true reflection of what is happening at the moment in terms of who is leading of that 78 million voters. We'll get a clear indication in the next 8 or 9 hours when they start to count officially. But what we have are actually estimates or people trying to make meaning or sense of the total number of people who have actually cast their votes at the moment. But they always do not get it wrong. The margin of error is almost 0.5. So that tells you that it still paints a true picture of what happens when actual counting actually starts. But what we can report is that the race is actually a dead heat at the moment. Nobody has a clear lead. If you look at Trump and Harris, for instance, they ramp up their campaigns in the battleground state. Trump was in Michigan, like he ended in 2016 and 2020. Harris also ended in Pennsylvania, where he was in Philadelphia with all the gurus. Oprah Winfrey and Lady Gaga were all there trying to make sure that they end on a good note. So today is the D-Day. Today is that day that America will actually decide, and very soon we'll know who will be in the lead.
Depending on who becomes the president of America, of course, yesterday we spoke about the fact that it will have some sort of effect. It could be a positive effect or negative effect on our elections, right?
Absolutely.
Our fingers are crossed.
Well, I mean, in terms of the effects, just like one of your pundits said, for me, I think it will still go on the PR aspect. But it's interesting how Americans, in terms of popular votes, are.
Okay, so we'll try and raise Kofi again. Osman, are you following keenly the American race?
Well, I've been following, but keenly, I won't say yes.
Why so?
I've been busy campaigning for the NDC.
All right, makes
I've
a
been
lot of
following
sense.
keenly the NDC's campaign.
But are you interested in who becomes the next president of the United States of America?
Well, I would not want to go into who I may want to win or not. I just feel that the American people will select for themselves a president they think is worthy of their votes and they think would be able to govern them in the next 4 years, whether Kamala or whether Trump. I just think that the American people will do what they think is right and will do what they think is proper for them, for the interests of their taxes, the interests of immigration, interests of their foreign policies. I'm sure the American people will decide. And whoever they decide to go with, I think we'll just congratulate them and hope that there's peace around the world and there's peace in America and people are able to live harmoniously. So I won't want to predict, I won't want to say I support Mr. A or Mr. B, and I don't see how whoever wins will have a bearing on whoever will win in Ghana here. Irrespective of whoever wins there, it wouldn't have a bearing whoever will win in Ghana here because whoever wins there at the end of the day, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is going to be the next president of the Republic of Ghana. And Ghanaian people have realized that it's time for them to kick out this NPP.
But what's the PR game play in your favor or against you? Let's say if Donald Trump should win, the PR will play in your favor, right?
Whoever wins, the NDC is winning.
Okay.
Whoever wins in the U.S. elections, the NDC is winning this election come 7 December.
So we are not going to hear the NDC use the same campaign that, oh, Donald Trump is back, we are coming back, voters back. We're not going to hear it. If Donald Trump should be elected as the president for the United States of America, we'll hear it.
Whoever wins,
okay,
the NDC is winning. So I mean, just on a light note, you're saying that the NDC could use the fact that Donald Trump wins, Donald Trump has come back. But if Kamala also wins, we will say that yes, we also put a woman in there. So it means that it's women empowerment. It's time for the women. So that's what I'm telling you. Whoever wins in the American election,
you're going to do the PR game.
NDC, we are not going to do the PR game, but the NDC is winning the next elections, whether the MPP likes it or not.
Okay.
The Ghanaian people are ready to vote His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to be the next president of the Republic of Ghana.
Osman Ayariga,
I believe you're also ready and hoping to see His Excellency John Dramani Mahama become the next president of the Republic of Ghana, because I know you are feeling the heat, you are feeling the pinch, you are feeling the suffering, you are feeling, I can see it in your eyes. Oh, yes.
Why does my eyes show anything like I'm suffering? That's what Ayariga. Thank you so much for being here today. We are very grateful. And okay, so let me speak with Kofi.
Hi, Rosalind.
Yes, you were making a point before you went off. Please continue with your point before I wrap up.
Yes. I think you've already made a point. The PR game will be the most important step that the outcome of the American election will actually be fought on. We also saw what happened in Nigeria when Tinubu was actually voted in power. We also saw the PR game that actually went on. How much more America? But the most important aspect has to do with the foreign policy. What happens to the health of our city? What happens between America and the Middle East and Russia and Ukraine? What is it? If Trump wins, it means that aid is going to cut, to Ukraine, and he's going to actually make peace with the Middle East as he's been promising. He's not going to, fancy any form of allies, NATO or whatever. He wants America first and he feels that people have actually taken advantage of America for a long time. On the other side, the Democrats are campaigning on a more different angle when it comes to foreign policy. So it'll be interesting to see the outcome of the American election. But for us, it's a bread and butter issue. We want a very healthy city after the American election.
Right, fingers crossed, and we hope that the right man wins.
Absolutely.
We'll definitely be talking to you tomorrow morning because the results would have been almost final by then, right?
Yeah, we'll be covering this from 12 a.m. Midnight to 9 a.m. So we'll surely be in touch.
Fantastic. Have a fantastic day, Kofi. All right, so yes, Osman, thank you so much for being here. We are very grateful. Osman Ayariga is the deputy
for John Dramani Mahama,
the deputy national youth organizer for the NDC, and he came in this morning to explain to us their manifesto. Don't forget, from the 14th to the 17th of this month. Hooray! I'm so excited. I think I'm more excited than anybody else in this house. It's all about the Joy Primate in Ghana Fair, which is happening at the Good Pack. Now, if you don't know, now you know. If you haven't told your friends, now it's time to tell your friends. If you know any friend of yours, or maybe you are into made in Ghana products and you want to display it to the world, there's an opportunity for you. Take advantage of it. I had a conversation with one lady a week ago, and she said she had a very small business. She decided to display her goods at Joy Prime Made in Ghana Fair, and that actually opened her up to the world. She's never regretted it. And after that, every time she hears about it, she makes sure she displays her goods. So if you want to display your good, you can actually call this number on the screen, and we'll definitely give you a slot. Our slots are quite limited now, and so call early so that you can get a stand, okay? Call early and get a stand, whatever product you sell. There'll be so many activities on that day. There'll be, fun activities where we'll play games, and there will be fashion show, there'll be cooking competition. So many things will be happening. I just cannot wait for it. And if you just want to come and buy, of course, the goods will be discounted, whether skin products, hair products, clothes, shoes, a watch, whatever. Discount, huge discounts. Just make sure that you make your way there. Don't come alone, because it's going to be like a party. Yes, we're going to have the DJs on the 10 tables. We're going to have so much to eat, so much to drink. So do not come alone. Come with your family, come with your friends. Come spend time from the 14th to the 17th of this month. I can't wait to see you all at the Good Pack on these days. I'm so excited about it. So from it's next week Thursday. From next week Thursday, Good Pack. You know where Good Pack is? Should I show you? When you get to Accra Mall, you see that big space in front of that place? That's the Good Pack. You can't miss it. I can't wait to see you from the 14th to the 17th. We will all be there. Ayariga is coming with me, right? Ayariga?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, you can actually come and campaign.
Sure. We'll come and set up what we call our manifesto booth.
Oh, you come and set up your manifesto. That's fantastic. So you actually pay for a booth and then you set it up?
Well, I'm sure with you I can have a very good...
Oh, why not? You just come and pay and then set up a booth.
Yeah, we'll come and set up the manifesto booth. So I think we'll talk behind the scenes.
I like that one. So you come and set up. Anyway, this is all time will permit us for this segment. I'll say a very big thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise for having our backs all the time. Whatever gadgets you are looking for, mobile phones, televisions, CCTV cameras, worry no more, because Franco Trading Enterprise has got your back. All you need to do is to call the number on the screen right now. Don't pick the number from Google. No, please pick the number on the screen now, or visit any of our shops. Or to make things very easy, just download the app on your phone, which is Franco Trading app. Franco Trading app, or visit any of our websites. In fact, we have just one website. It's www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still phone pepper fee. My name is Roslyn Felly. I want to take a break on this note. When we come back, we have a lot more for you. We are going into the world of trends. Loishola Adeyemi will tell us exactly what is trending. Nathaniel Atto will take us into the world of sports. Of course, we'll be talking to a few people that will be exhibiting their goods at the Accra around Accra Mall, which is the Good Pack, during the Joy Prime Made in Ghana Fair. And also, today, we are taking a look at typhoid. Why all of a sudden we keep hearing that everybody has typhoid. So you need to stay glued to your television set for these conversations and many more. My name is Roslyn Felly. We'll be right back after this break.